What is up, gamers? Welcome to the Submarine Spree.
The Submarine Spree.
The Submarine Spree.
It's gonna be a blast.
Roll the theme song.
Roll the theme song.
Submarine Spree. It's the Submarine Spree.
Alright, so we started this out as a stream. I'm going to, if it's even salvageable at all, insert a clip of that stream right here so you can see why we switched to video. We are going to taste every sandwich.
I don't know if you're online.
Am I not online?
It doesn't look like it.
So as you can see, it was very laggy and
We did our best with
Yeah.
what we were given, but
not a good experience for the viewers, so we switched to video instead. So we're just going to retake what we already did, give our thoughts on everything in a very understandable way so that, you can actually understand what we were saying.
Exactly. So we're gonna start without further ado. We're gonna start where we started on the stream, which was Subway. So the biggest thing is, with each of these places, we wanted to try and get two different types of subs.
Exactly.
We wanted to get a cold sub and a hot sub.
For the cold sub, we chose Italian because every sub place has an Italian sub.
And for the hot sub, we decided to go for a classic cheesesteak.
Yeah, because that's about as basic as you can get other than meatball.
Now, we would try and go for the default option if they had a default option.
But some of the places like Subway don't have a default and you have to build it yourself. So what we did is, in cases like that, we tried to make them as similar as possible. So it's a nice classic experience of each of these subs.
So for those cold subs, we pretty much stuck with like lettuce, tomato, onion, and mayonnaise. Just a pretty standard array of toppings you would see on a normal cold sub.
Yeah, and for the hot sub, the cheesesteak, we just went with onions and peppers. Nice to keep it simple.
And that's pretty much it. So our different experiences with the different restaurants, we'll talk about it as we go into them.
It will go into effect. The various wait times, service,
General
environment,
yeah. Just all of that.
So we'll bring those up as we go along.
So we'll hold them up to the camera.
Yeah.
Excuse our bite marks, I guess.
Yeah.
But
we took a few noms here. I'm not talking Vietnam. So here is the cold sandwich.
and over here is the hot one. They kind of look sad.
Yeah.
That was our
The bread
remarks.
is very, very, very mushy.
It's there's a lot of cracks. I mean, it just doesn't.
Stuff's just sort of falling out, and like it's not that stuffed either.
Yeah. I feel like there's more bread than toppings in certain.
I agree, which is exactly what I don't like about a sandwich.
Yeah. I didn't eat bread sandwich. I'm eating toppings with sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, where do we want to start, hot or cold?
Let's start hot.
Start hot. All right.
So as we discussed during the stream when we tried to do it, this is no longer hot. It's warm at best, and probably by now it's not. We're going to try to take into account the fact that it should be hot.
All right. Cheers. It's a lot of red pepper.
Yeah, they put on way too much
I
pepper.
put way too much pepper, but
My thoughts are exactly the same as during the stream, which is that the meat, you can't even really taste it. They put on too much pepper. It's just bland. It's a bland sandwich.
It's very bland. Like, I don't know. It's just sad. Like the bread
really
is
is.
just so mushy too. It's like,
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just because it was sitting there for a while, or if this is how it is, but I mean, to a certain extent, if you can't go 10 minutes with a sandwich before the bread gets all mushy, then that's a, detractor on the sandwich itself.
for sure.
Onto the cold sub.
Cold sub though. Hopefully something maybe a bit better.
Yeah.
Cheers. I mean, there's definitely more flavor than the sub, the
For
hot.
sure. And I think, honestly, the reason for that, it's all due to the tomato.
I think so.
It's largely the lettuce and the tomato that is adding a lot of flavor to this. I think Subway does its vegetables very good. You know, they're pretty fresh. They have flavor. It's the meat that really leaves a lot to be desired.
I feel like they definitely could be more of it. Like, I get a little bit of like the salami taste of it, but there's just not.
Yeah,
enough.
it's more so the seasoning that I'm tasting, which I guess is true of all. I don't know.
It's hard. The
Yeah.
bread is just fine again. I mean, now granted, we didn't get the cold toasted because we wanted to keep it same with all of them. So maybe you're not toasted, the bread's better.
Yeah,
But
well, that's also true of the hot. Is that bread was toasted on the hot
was
sandwich,
toasted, that is
and
true.
it's still that mushy.
yeah. How was our service at the Subway?
Not good.
Not great.
Not good.
Not great.
Yeah, the general environment of the Subway also not great.
It's just kind of like there's so much hassle
Yeah,
whenever you go into a Subway. 'Cause
trying to order from Subway is awful because there is no default. You have to order everything that you want, and you have to go through the whole list, and then they'll put on seemingly a random amount of each topping that you ask for.
basically, it looks like every time I've gone, they just kind of cover the sub, and it's like, okay, that seems about right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not like, oh, it's specifically 5 pieces of cheese or like 4 pieces of tomatoes. It's like, no, whatever covers the sub.
Exactly. And that's not what you want. There's a certain ratio to sandwiches that some places get and some places don't.
And I just think Subway is just kind of meh.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
If we had to put them on a tier list, I would say hot, D tier, cold, C tier.
That sounds about right. So I guess let's move on to Jimmy John's.
Yes,
So-
which was originally here, but is now here because, you know,
Takes.
things happen.
Things happen. Interesting thing before we begin with Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
Jimmy John's does not have a hot sub.
They don't. It is only cold subs as far as we can tell.
So far already that is like F tier by default for hot subs.
Yeah, they don't even, it's not applicable
Right.
for hot subs.
Now granted, though, as we mentioned the problems with Subway in terms of ordering, Jimmy John's, I would say by all of these, was probably the easiest to work.
Yeah, you know, friendly service, really easygoing atmosphere in there. The wait time was almost non-existent.
I was
like
shocked.
basically by the time that we paid, we got our sandwich. So just a good experience ordering.
Now we did get an Italian, so I'll hold it up for you guys. Sorry for the. Now, granted, we did get. They're supposed to be together. We kind of ripped it in half for both of us, so it's not. This isn't the full size, and of course, we got some bite marks. But already just a lot more colorful. Colorful.
Yes.
Like actually, I didn't realize
a
how
little
they
bit
could be.
more stuffed than the Subway one was.
Yes.
And in particular, a lot more meat. Subway goes very heavy on not only the bread, but also the vegetables, which again, is what I was saying was the strongest point of that Subway sub. They do not go heavy on the meat, but
There's
Jimmy John's,
there's a
there's
lot of
meat
There's a
here.
lot of meat.
and the bread and the vegetables are very like complementary to that. So I guess without further ado,
Cheers.
cheers.
Just already so much more flavor.
So much more. It's just a better sandwich. And I honestly think, so I'm gonna come up and show the camera this. This is what Jimmy John's lettuce looks like. Very finely shredded. This is what Subway's lettuce looks like. As you can see, it's more so chunks. It's kind of shredded. I think a big thing about the lettuce is that the finer it is, the more it helps to just fill in the cracks of the sandwich, you know, the gaps.
The bread is
And-
really nice also here for Jimmy John's.
It is. It's, even after all this time, it's still firm. You know, it's not like super squishy. I'm poking it and it's not destroying the integrity of the sandwich.
That's sad.
It's so sad.
It's really sad.
I want you to know, I'm honestly trying to give Subway a shot here.
It's-
I could just meme and say, oh, they're F tier. I'm honestly trying to give it a shot.
It's
I just
bad.
can't agree with you guys.
I can't.
I don't know if it's like Subway's different in different regions or something, but Subway is garbage here.
So bad.
So bad.
So bad. Anyway, I'm surprised by Jimmy John's, to be honest, because we've heard a lot of things from our other friends in our group.
Yeah, we've heard bad things, but
Not-
really surprised
not
me
bad.
how good it is.
Not bad.
Yeah,
I definitely put this at like a B tier.
I would too.
Not the most
A
amazing
very
thing,
solid B tier.
but very solid. A very solid sub.
Like, if I wanted a sandwich and the only thing near me was Jimmy John's, I wouldn't be upset.
No.
I wouldn't be upset. Subway, I would be.
Jimmy John's? No.
So I guess let's move on to Jersey Mike's.
You want to explain the experience at Jersey Mike's a little bit?
Yeah, so Jersey Mike's, it's a pretty basic experience. It's sort of like, yes, you know, you do have to go through the whole rigmarole of like saying all the customization you want, but at least there is a default that you can fall back on.
I do like that they kind of symbolize with like a deli experience. It's the whole their counter's like a deli, and they cut the meats right there in front of you, and then you can get it Mike's Way, which is what we got because that's the default. And Mike's Way is one of my personal favorites. I love Jersey Mike's, period.
I've only been a couple times.
But normally when I go, I normally get the hot stuff. So we got a good cheesesteak and a good Italian as well. So I guess without further ado, we can...
Do you want to explain specifically the numbers? Because I forget what.
Oh yeah, so 56, personal favorite of mine.
Right, that's the big
The
kahuna.
big kahuna. And then 13. And I forget what the official name of the 13 is. But also we go for regular. Now granted, there's the giant ones, and the giant ones are like bigger than a foot long. We're talking like this big.
Okay, so starting off the bat, you can see that this sandwich is actually like, it's like leaking out its contents. So like, whereas with the Subway one, where the hot sub, there was barely anything in there, this sub is quite full. Like,
You
stuff
might
falling
want
out
to
right
get
here.
the wrapper.
Let me show you this. I can try to open it up a little bit so you can see inside. You might even be able to hear that. Like, that's a good looking sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Again, it's not exactly hot anymore, but
Our Italian, loaded. That's the big thing. Look how much meat is in that Italian. There is so much meat that they put in on the Jersey Mike's. A ton.
I
A
gotta
ton.
say, I'm really excited for this because I've only been to Jersey Mike's once, and when I was there, I think it was once, maybe twice. But when I was there, I definitely got a cheesesteak. I'm excited to try their Italian, and I'm excited to have this cheesesteak again.
What do you want to start with?
Probably the cheesesteak.
All right. Might
Just
as well.
in
Since-
case it has any warmth that it has left to lose.
Whatever warmth is left.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
It's so good.
this is what a cheesesteak should be.
It's so cheesy and creamy,
Oh,
and there's so much meat. That's the best part. There's
even now,
meat.
even now when it's cold, the cheese is still super melty. And the meat has so much flavor. And the peppers are better.
The peppers are better. Now 56 is the very hot peppers. That's like the jalapeno peppers and things like
Yeah,
that.
but even just the flavor of
But
it
just
is
the
better.
flavor of it is so good.
And it's a better ratio of pepper. Because whereas with Subway, all I could taste was the peppers, this is perfect.
It's so good. Mike from Jersey, you know how to make a good sub.
New Jersey Michael, you are a genius.
Let's head on to the cold sub. I've had the cold a couple of times. Normally I always get hot from Jersey, so I'm excited to have the cold.
Yeah. I haven't had a cold Jersey Mike sub yet.
And like I mentioned, there's already so much meat in it, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
That's good. If I could say something controversial, I think Jimmy John's cold is better.
I think so. The difference between this one's actually a lot lighter.
It is.
Like compared to the cheesesteak. The cheesesteak you get so much meat.
Oh,
you get
it's
so much heaviness.
Heavy and just, oh.
You get the same. There's a lot of meat still in this,
Yeah.
but there's still an interesting lightness into the cold.
It's interesting because if you look at it like content-wise, did you show this?
I did. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Content-wise, it is still a majority meat, but in terms of like what you taste as you're eating it, it is similar to Subway in that it has more of a focus on the vegetables in my mouth. I mean, the meat is still higher quality than Subway. The vegetables, I feel, are better than Subway's. It's much finer lettuce, as previously discussed. Not as fine as
Jimmy John's is still finer. Yeah, Jimmy John's is still finer.
I mean, who knows how they even do that? But this is still a very good sandwich. Like, if I were to want an Italian sub, I would go to Jimmy John's, but I wouldn't be upset about going to Jersey.
I definitely put this at B tier, meaning the cold I put at B tier.
Yeah.
But I would put Jimmy John's higher.
I would
at
too.
B tier.
I think Jimmy John's is a very high B, and I mean, based on how the recipes go, maybe we'll even move it up to an A. But yeah, I'd say high B for Jimmy John's cold, lower B for Jersey Mike's cold. Easy A.
Easy A.
Easy A.
Easy A for the
hot,
cheesesteak.
for the cheesesteak.
So good.
So good.
I could eat that up right now.
I would eat the rest of it. I would eat the rest
I
of
would
it.
eat the rest.
But we have
two more.
Four more sandwiches to go.
But 2 more places, 4 more sandwiches to go.
Yeah. So
you want to talk about this next place that we got?
Wawa.
Wawa.
The greatest sandwich place in the region. I feel bad for anyone who does not live in the northeastern part of the U.S. because you don't get a Wawa.
You don't get a Wawa.
You know what? Actually, they also have them in Florida. So
this is true. Now there is a close second, Sheetz. It still doesn't compare.
No.
Wawa is better.
Sheetz is an interesting thing because Sheetz has really good appetizers. Their sandwiches, not as good.
Not as good.
Wawa has really good sandwiches. Their appetizers, not as good. So that's how I like to put the rivalry between the two. But in terms of sandwich, I know I'm biased, but this is the one I was looking the most forward to eating because I love me some Wawa.
Oh, I love Wawa. Now, I'm also biased too, so much so, when I was in Korea, the first thing, my Korean buddy actually asked me, what's the first thing you're most excited for when you get back home? And I said, the first thing I want when I get back home is a Wawa hoagie.
Let's go.
That was
Wawa
legit
hoagie.
the first thing I wanted, and that was the first thing I got when I got back home.
Yeah.
Was a Wawa hoagie.
It's all about
Wawa
hoagie.
So we did get 2 different types. We got their hot and we got their cold.
Yeah.
Now I normally, which is interesting, I normally only go cold at Wawa.
I normally only go hot at Wawa.
So it should be interesting because I love their cold. And I know you love their hot.
Very much so.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
But interestingly enough, I don't think I've ever had their normal cheesesteak. I have had chicken cheesesteak and I've had meatball, and those are typically the only 2 I get.
And normally I just get like ham and cheese. Ham and cheese is, I'm just a basic guy sometimes.
Yeah. A basic boy. All right, let's get a palate cleanser.
Now for those that haven't been to a Wawa, how's the experience at Wawa?
Incredibly easy. You walk in, and you don't have to talk to a person. You touch the touch screen, you do all the customization yourself, and then while you're up at the front desk paying, they are making their sandwich for your sandwich for you. And you only have to wait a couple minutes depending on how busy they are. Sometimes it's already done by the time you finish paying. It's incredibly easy, incredibly good atmosphere. I think every time I've been to a Wawa, people have been, the people working there have been friendly.
It's always nice whenever I go. No matter the location, we're talking all over the northeastern part. Anywhere, always a nice place.
I have only ever had one bad experience at a Wawa, and you could tell that Wawa was just
not there.
Yeah, it was not being managed well. It was in like a total state of disrepair. And that is the only time, and it wasn't even that bad. It was just not the best.
So we're excited.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the big things
this is the Italian
Subway could improve upon. Instead of talking about it over, like, it's so fast on a touch screen. It's so fast.
Yeah. Because all you have to do is tap the stuff that you want. Oh my god. I'm excited to show the camera this.
This is what the Italian sub looks like at Wawa. Look how it's almost no bread. This is the perfect ratio of bread to contents in a sandwich. Look at that. Nice layers of cheese, meat, and then the vegetables on top, really just making it so that the vegetables are the center of it without taking over it.
And then pretty similar with the cheesesteak. The cheesesteak is like all meat. There is so much meat and there's very little toppings, but I mean,
the toppings are supposed to be a small accent to a cheesesteak anyway.
exactly. So it's not a big thing, but again, it still uses the same type of bread, but it's still very solid and just a really good looking cheesesteak.
Yeah.
So what do you want to start with? Hot?
I guess we'll start with hot.
Let's start with hot. All right, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's still solid. It's still a solid one. Much
Still
better
very
than Subway. However, I think Jersey Mike's is better.
I think it is too. This is very quality meat. The toppings, it is the right amount of, it's like a good ratio.
To be honest,
This is a great sandwich.
I don't think there's enough cheese.
I agree. I think there needs to be a little bit more cheese in this. Also, this is true of all of their hot subs. If you leave them for a while, the bread does get a little soggy.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to admit that is a detraction upon Wawa. You know, I love it, but I'm willing to see where it could improve. I think the fact that Jersey Mike's is way better than this is not a
It's not a
comment.
detraction.
It's not a comment on Wawa being bad. It's that the fact that this is already great and Jersey Mike's is so much better.
Props to Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's, you're incredible.
Jersey Mike's is killing it.
Okay, let me have a second bite of this.
Go for
just
that.
in case.
Yep.
The first one was a fluke. You know?
Yeah. I always go for 2 bites. 2 bites, magic number. Especially in the Submarine Spree. Yeah, I think there needs to be more cheese. I really do. The biggest
I think
thing
so.
is like with Jersey
I got a little
Mike's,
more cheese on the second bite. I think it was more so.
So I know how Wawa puts their cheese on the inside of the sandwich, and I think they do that both with the hot subs as well.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but there's just there's so much meat. There's not enough cheese to cover that meat.
Yeah.
And I feel like with a cheesesteak, you need to have the cheese cover the meat.
And I will say this is that in terms of cheese, it's better to have not enough than way too much. So at least they fall in the better half of that divide, but they could do with a little more.
For sure. Now there is an option, of course, to get extra cheese or add extra stuff,
but again, we wanted the as default of an experience as we could get, while still making it like not just steak and cheese.
yes, for sure.
Alright, so that was our theory.
the
on
hot
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely still rate that as like
I'd say maybe a low A. I'm honestly
I'd say
thinking
high
we
B or
should-
low A.
I'm honestly thinking we should raise the Jersey Mike's hot up to an S.
I think so. Having that, Jersey Mike's is on another level.
It really is.
It really is. I put it on S. The hot. It's pretty insane actually.
So we're promoting Jersey Mike's hot sub up to an S tier.
I'd say Wawa would be probably
A.
low
It's
A.
an A.
It's an A. I wouldn't put it at the upper, but it's an A. Okay.
All right.
Cold subs.
Let's do the cold sub. Cheers.
Cheers. Now for Wawa, I always recommend 2 bites because a lot of the cold is off to the left side of the sub,
Yeah.
which is a little bit of a fallback. Is that you don't get all the meat in the first bite,
Yeah.
but it does show the vegetables are pretty solid.
Yeah. Vegetables are solid. Like you were saying, could do with a little more meat. I think in this case, the amount of cheese is good.
I think so too.
The bread's pretty solid. It's not really mushy like the Subway one was. I think in terms of bread, Jimmy John's was still my favorite.
I
for
think
cold
Jimmy
sub.
John's has still been the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's so much more meat
Yeah.
on the second bite because you get the
Yeah.
inner portion.
It is interesting that with Wawa, different bites of the sandwich result in a different flavor experience.
Exactly. So I would put that as a plus almost.
Yeah, I think so. That it's not just the same thing that you're tasting the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
It's slightly variations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, putting a little more emphasis on one thing in one bite and then another thing in another bite. I think overall, it's good. Perhaps could do with just a little bit more meat throughout, but the second bite was way better than the first bite in terms of that.
For sure. Now, how would you compare this cold to like the Jersey Mike's or the Jimmy John's? To be honest, I think I like the Jimmy John's more.
I think so too. I think that Jimmy John's is slightly above Wawa, and Wawa is above Jersey Mike's.
I think the same as well.
So honestly, this is how you know that I'm being honest with you, is that Wawa, the thing that I campaign for and pioneer, I'm not rating as the best in either category.
Same here. Same here. I'm like shocked.
I'm
Now-
genuinely surprised.
Now I'm not as surprised with the hot. I campaign Jersey Mike's a lot.
That's true. I've only been one time.
Right.
I remember being good, but I didn't realize it was that good.
That good. But I'm shocked about because I've actually Jimmy John's a shocker. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I'll have to put it that way.
It came out of nowhere, being amazing.
Yeah. You know, why'd you have to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Let's clear off the table again so we can get down to our last two sandwiches.
So, a bit of a story. These are deli sandwiches.
Yes, they are.
Something that you can normally get at any deli.
Oh,
Local, not
Yeah.
local. Oh, nice.
they gave us 2 cups of peppers of different heats.
Very cool. Now, granted, before this whole event, Jordan kind of hit me up.
I
He's
did.
like, "Yo, I have this idea. You want to do this?"
I hit him up at noon.
Yep.
It's 3 o'clock right now.
Oh, wow, it's 3. And I was like, "Sure, let's do that." And my dad had actually gotten me a sub for lunch, and he went down to our local deli, one that Jordan and I both have been to and have really good subs from. And he got me
It's
a
about
cold
5
sub.
minutes from our house.
Yep, and he's gotten a cold sub for me. Now, granted, it's not Italian, just because it's just a ham and cheese, so it's gonna taste different than
Yeah.
our previous subs.
But it's basically an Italian minus a few ingredients. It's a close enough approximation that we'll be able to infer what an Italian would be like from that place.
Exactly.
The hot sub is from a place here in Salisbury, where I went to college, and it's a place that I frequented actually. It's right next to my old apartment. Went there with Cameron and Michael quite a bit, and it is a cheesesteak from there. So a little bit away from where we live.
A little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we trust these deli locations. And whatever location you might be at, you can trust that deli location. So
Yeah.
this is to give, every deli is going to be probably different in
Absolutely.
some regard. I would definitely say so. But we're going to hit the local deli.
Yeah.
That's our biggest thing.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that in general, people in your community will know which delis are good and which delis are bad. And in general, if there's a local deli that's been around for a while, it's been there for a while for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's probably pretty good.
support your small businesses.
Yeah. And we want to continue the trend of starting with hot, or do we want to start with cold?
We'll still continue the trend with hot.
All right, so let's.
Well,
So interestingly enough about this one is that it was actually wrapped twice.
and there's a tinfoil on this one.
Yeah.
The experiences at delis are always going to range, but they're always really friendly.
Yeah.
From our experiences, always a great time, always really friendly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I've
and
never had-
they're just people from your community.
Locals,
who-
yeah. And they care about what they do.
And largely, most of the people that you'll run into are the people who own the store.
Yep. So it's really cool because you can build up some cool personal relationships with them. And
Yeah.
it's just casual, very
Yeah.
casual.
In terms of experience, I will always say that going to your local deli will probably be the best experience.
For sure.
There, obviously, because there's so many delis in the world, there are exceptions to that. But nothing beats going to your local deli and interacting with the people there.
And there's much more at a local deli than just getting a sub. That's
Exactly.
the biggest thing. It's like at the deli that we go, or I go to for this sub, I get chicken salad and potato salad all the time for them because they have such good chicken and potato salad.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the hot sub. So
Yeah,
you want to bring it up to the camera?
Show it to the camera.
Already, it's looking really cheesy.
It's looking similar
to that Jersey Mike.
Yeah. In terms of like how it looks. Here's the thing about cheesesteaks. The grosser it looks, the better it is. Which is why this and the Jersey Mike subs both look gross, and that's why I know they're going to be
great. It is great that way. And then, now this is going to look a little bit different because it's not an Italian, but the cold sub, so much meat, always a ton of meat again. A good line of cheese, and then of course, not as many toppings. I mean, you got this center portion, but it's a very solid, the bread looks great. It's much better than it looks better than Jersey Mike's bread and better than, it's almost like a Wawa. I'd say it's pretty close to Wawa bread.
It's very similar to Wawa, a little thicker than Wawa's bread.
Yes.
Which I'm very much a person who likes not that much bread on sandwich. I think if you want a sandwich, you want what's inside it, not the bread.
Yeah.
But this looks like a good amount of bread.
For sure. Maybe a little bit more than I would like personally, but I'd still say pretty solid.
Yeah. So I guess let's go ahead and
Hot it
get
up.
started on the cheesesteak.
Oh yeah. Cheers. Oh no, you said it best already. The messier and grosser it looks,
The better it
the
is.
better it is.
Oh my god. I mean, it's different. It's a different taste than the Jersey Mike's,
For sure.
but
It's almost
just
weird.
about as good.
I would say pretty close. Pretty
Yeah.
close.
Like, this is easily high A.
I'd say high A, low S, like
Yeah.
right next to Jersey Mike's.
Exactly. I don't want to eat the whole thing on that.
I know, right? That's really good.
Really good. And finally, the sandwich we actually got first.
Right. A while back.
Yeah.
But,
The
I think
ham
it
and
was
cheese from the deli.
Ham and cheese from deli.
It's almost Italian.
Close enough.
Cheers.
Cheers. There is black onions, not black onions, black olives. That's just because I normally like black olives. Not something normal, so it can change the taste up a little bit. Still very solid.
It was really good. As expected, the deli is going to have the finest quality meat, the best cheese, and the vegetables is kind of a toss-up. There's not that many,
There's not many. There really isn't.
which is exactly what you want out of vegetables. You want them to be a very good accent to your sandwich. I mean, this is a very quality sandwich. I'm trying to think where I would put it.
I put it higher than Wawa. Me personally, I would. I don't know. It's close to Jimmy John's. I don't know if I put it higher or lower than Jimmy John's.
I think I put it lower.
I'm just shocked by Jimmy John's. I think that's the stat.
Me too.
We're both very shocked by Jimmy John's. The
I think
biggest
Jimmy
thing,
John's, did we give it an A or a B?
we give it an A.
Okay, good.
Well, we said it was B. We definitely moved it up to A.
Jimmy John's is definitely A.
Yeah.
I'd say this is also like a low A,
Yeah. I'd say so.
personally.
The meat, like you said, the meat and cheese, always the highest quality
Yeah.
at the deli. It's the freshest, it's gonna be the
Yeah.
highest quality.
In
Now
terms of
with it-
ingredients, like inside the sandwich, highest quality.
For sure.
Bread, not quite as good as Jimmy John's. And just how they put it together, it's pretty good.
I would say the cheesesteak though, I'd still think I like Jersey Mike's more.
Yeah.
but I put it right next to it on S tier.
Okay. So the deli cheesesteak and the Jersey Mike's cheesesteak are the 2 S tiers.
Yes, the 2 S tiers, the only S tiers.
Yeah.
But I would say they're worth it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it. Our A tiers, I'd say, would be Jimmy John's. Would
Jimmy
be the
John's.
top. The deli cold.
The deli cold.
I put. What do we want? The Wawa cold or the Wawa
Did we
hot?
put Wawa hot as a low A?
I think we put Wawa hot as low A.
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Wawa cold. Would that be a high B?
I'd say high B. High
Yeah.
B. Yeah.
Jersey Mike's
Jersey Mike's
cold B. Solid B.
solid B.
And then that leaves Subway cold at C, and Subway hot at D.
Hey,
Except for the memes, they're both F.
They're both
F.
F.
Subway's just an F.
Get
in your
wrecked.
restaurant.
Get
Fucking
wrecked.
Subway.
Come
I hate
on.
Subway.
We hate
You
Subway.
lose. You lose. You lose.